I'm tapping in, I'm tapping in, I'm tapping in, I'm tapping in. Thank y'all for tapping into Yo Cuz podcast. Y'all know what it is. We're on live screen, baby. We turning up, baby. We're on live screen right now. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. We talk about Eli today, baby. We focus on Eli today, baby. Thank y'all for tapping into Yo Cuz podcast. We're on live screen. We talking about Eli today. Talk about Eli today, y'all. I just got finished running up them steps. Yes, yes, yes. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for tapping in. Y'all know what it is. Cuz on the 1 and 2s, y'all know what it is. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for tapping in. Hold on. Real. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Thank y'all for tapping in. Y'all know what it is. So look, thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for tapping in. We're on live screen right now. So look, this is what's going on. I apologize about last night. Time flew past me last night that I supposed to came on at 8 p.m. But don't worry about it. I brung it right back at y'all at 8 p.m. again. Y'all know what it is. Thank y'all for tapping in the Yo Cuz podcast. So look, the day is all about Eli. Because I'm trying to figure out where did he come from, how he started getting all this money like he did, like he do, and how did he get plugged in? I just want to know how he did get plugged in. So what I did, I went on YouTube and I found this document. I don't know if it's his document or somebody made the document up. I don't know what it is, but guess what? I want y'all to watch this document. So go twist up the J's. So go pour the drinks. Because y'all done tune in to Yo Cuz podcast. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Y'all know what it is, man. It's been a long weekend, but we made it through, YouTube family. We made it through, YouTube family. Y'all know what it is. We made it through. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that matters, that we made it through. That's it. It was rough, but we made it. God is good all the time. Y'all know what it is. So look, thank y'all for tapping in. I need y'all to subscribe, like, drop a comment. We going up. Yes, we is. We going up today, right now, because we talking about Eli Musk. Yeah. I want to know his life. Because where did he come with the idea to take his money and put it to robots and electricity cars? That was a big step right there. Yes, it was. That was a big step. Like, nobody ain't think about that. Nobody ain't think about, guess what? But we're going to watch his document today, and I got a quick commercial for y'all, and I need y'all to tap in. Be back.
When you know your why, the how is easy. When you don't know your why, the how is hard. But when you know why you're doing what you're doing, you don't let an obstacle get in the way. There is no difficulty when you know why you're doing what you're doing. My mother will never work again. My wife will never work again. And if my children decide not to work for somebody else, they will never work for anybody but themselves. That's the decision. I made a decision that they would not, if they put themselves in a situation where they got to work for somebody, that ain't on me. But my people will never be enslaved again.
I'm back. So look, this is what it is. Y'all got them J's rolled up. Y'all got them drinks pulled. Make sure y'all put some ice on them drinks, because we about to tune in to Eli Musk document. Yeah, we about to watch this document. Got to watch this document. We got to find out what's going on in life, y'all. If we don't find out what's going on in life, we're going to be in trouble. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Real talk. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. So look, I came to with some trouble. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 minute. I got it. Ah, they gonna do me like that, huh? Give me 1 minute. They gonna do me like that? I got it. Give me 1 minute, y'all. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Document. It is. Give me 1 minute.
Elon Musk speaking.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and Elon Musk anxiously waits for his golden payoff, his prize for paying his dues in the valley.
I expect to receive a car that I've just bought, which is called the McLaren F1.
It's $1 million for a car. It's decadent.
There are 62 McLarens in the world, and I will own one of them. Back in '95, there weren't very many people on the internet, and certainly nobody was making any money at all. Most people thought the internet was going to be a fad.
Not this South African entrepreneur. Musk sold his first computer program at the age of 12, and he hasn't stopped selling since.
Wow, I can't believe it's actually here. It's pretty wild, man. Just 3 years ago, I was showering at the Y and sleeping on the office floor. And now, obviously, I've got a $1 million car and quite a few creature comforts. It's just a moment in my life. All clear.
My values may have changed, but I'm not consciously aware of my values having changed.
My fear is that we become spoiled brats, that we lose a sense of appreciation and...
So look, y'all see what he doing? Huh? He flexing.
Papers to publish online for $400 million cash.
Receiving cash is cash. I mean, those are just a large number of Ben Franklins.
It's a perfect car for Silicon Valley, it really is.
There it is, gentlemen, the fastest car in the world. I could go and buy one of the islands in the Bahamas and turn it into my personal fiefdom. Wow. I'm much more interested in trying to build and create a new company.
So this is an ATM. What we're going to do is transform the traditional banking industry.
I do not fit the picture of a banker.
X.com, this is Julie.
Raising $50 million is a matter of making a series of phone calls, and the money is there. I've sunk the great majority of my net worth into X.com, which is the new banking and mutual funds company on the internet that I've started.
Big X.
Exactly. X.com.
I think X.com could absolutely be a multi-billion-dollar bonanza. Because if you look at the industry that X is pursuing, it's the biggest sector of the world economy.
Is that a McLaren F1?
Yes.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable. It's sort of like a series of poker games. And now I've gone on to a more high-stake poker game and just carry those chips with me. And I haven't gone and taken my winnings and spent a big chunk, but I've just really put almost all of it back into the new game. No, I'd say the real payoff is the sense of satisfaction in having created the company that I sold.
Yes, the cars.
But the car sure is.
The cars.
Sure is
Let's
fun.
be honest.
Sure is
You'll
fun.
take the car.
You talk to any of these people who have hit the jackpot early, they don't even have a conceptualization of the amount of money that they have. It's funny money. It's something you don't even think about. The amazing thing is that almost none of them quit, even when they could. It's not a vesting thing. It's not that there's some secret clause in there that keeps them from doing it. They want to do what they're doing. They think that to stop doing that is death.
I'd like to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. That'd be cool. I mean, what you've got going on with the internet is it's basically like an earthquake where the epicenter is Silicon Valley, and it's shaking up the whole world.
So this is still a new series for me. I'd love to know if you like it, if I should continue with profiling different entrepreneurs and their young starts. Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see the last one I did on Jeff Bezos from his 1997 interview, go check out the link right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Where did you get an idea for Amazon.com?
Well, 3 years ago, I was in New York City working for a quantitative hedge fund.
You know, most drivers don't know that they can buy out their lease because it's not really talked about, right? It's not really.
We about to get into this, y'all. Yeah. We about to find out with Facebook, how did he create Facebook? We trying to create how they did Amazon. We trying to create, we trying to find out everything was going on tonight on Yo Cuz podcast. Y'all know what it is. You feel me? Eli went through the whole world, y'all. This man went and bought a Ferrari, a 1962 Ferrari, dog, and parked on his block, dog. Do you hear me? And
Really talked about it at the dealer.
Block. You feel me? People were so shocked that he got it. It was crazy.
Trying
to build a company and have it succeed is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. The way to sell any product is through word of mouth. When we first started out, I think our ambitions were really quite low. It was really to make enough money to pay the rent.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na-na-na. From a top 10, top 10, top 10.
So Eli played in TV shows and everything, movies and everything, y'all. Did y'all even know that? I did not know he played in TV shows, movies, and everything. I did not know that. Like I really did not know that, dog. This is all new to me too, y'all. This is all new to me. Man, I did not know, man, that man played in movies and TV shows and everything, y'all. That's crazy, y'all. But guess what? We gonna find out now. Oh, we definitely gonna find out now. Yes, we is. We definitely gonna find out now. That's crazy, y'all. But guess what? We gonna find out now. Oh, we definitely gonna find out now. Hold on, y'all. What is going on? What y'all doing? Here we go right here. There we go. Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz podcast. Give me 1 minute. I'm getting it together right now.
Never be constrained by the rules.
Correspondent James Jacoby investigates Elon Musk's expanding influence.
I am trying to do good for humanity and the future of civilization.
With company insiders.
What was it like for you?
For the first time in a long time, I was terrified.
And industry experts.
I thought he'd be a good owner.
Why?
He has the money, the means, and the creativity.
How he is changing the social media platform.
We must protect free speech.
I've never seen a billionaire own a media platform that so obviously is using it as a personal platform.
And the implications for free speech.
Since Musk took over, what would you say your main findings have been? Number one, I would say harassment has increased.
The massive rebranding of Twitter.
Misleading posts about the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
This guy
amazing success story who decided to go buy Twitter because he cares so much about the First Amendment.
Or in disinformation. Do you agree that's a threat?
Yeah, no one appreciates that, but the First Amendment's the First Amendment.
Now on Frontline,
Elon Musk, the world's richest man, has outdone himself.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk's Twitter takeover.
He wants to shake things up. And when things are calm, he seeks out storms.
Launch auto sequence initiated, aka the holy mouse click for 3:45 liftoff. Hashtag Falcon Heavy.
Launch director on countdown 1. SpaceX Falcon Heavy, go for launch.
10, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6.
It had all the elements of a perfect day for Elon Musk.
2.
A test launch of his latest reusable rocket, the most powerful in the world, capable of deep space exploration. It was a crucial step toward his ultimate goal, the conquest of Mars.
Elon Musk, I think, gets the most pleasure out of rocket ships. And at moments when the rockets go off, that's when the childish pleasure comes out.
T plus 30 seconds if you can hear me over the cheering. Falcon Heavy heading to space on our test flight.
He doesn't usually like having pleasure. He doesn't savor the moment, but he does when it's a rocket launch.
Camera views from inside the payload fairing. Hashtag Falcon Heavy.
Throughout the day, Musk provided running commentary at his favorite place to express himself, the social media site Twitter.
Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz Podcast. Listen, for everybody that just pulled up the Yo Cuz Podcast, the day is all about Elon Musk. We're going to look at the document that somebody made because they already on it. But I want to let my YouTube family know what's going on. You feel me? I want y'all to know what's going on with Elon Musk and how fast he blew up. He blew up so fast, dog. He already had a plan. He already had a plan, so now he tuned up with Donald Trump. Y'all know what it is. I'm giving y'all all the information that y'all need right now. Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz Podcast. Y'all ready? Set? Go.
Upper stage restart nominal. Apogee raised to 7,000 kilometers.
He's a performer. He likes it. He likes it. He likes playing Elon Musk. He thinks he's Iron Man.
Right on cue, Musk's rocket discharged his own cherry red Tesla, complete with a mannequin in the driver's seat.
Elon Musk has outdone himself this time.
Normally, for a new rocket, they'd launch like a block of concrete. I mean, that's so boring. That's still tripping me out. I mean, I'm tripping balls here.
The electric car and the reusable rocket were part of a vast business empire, from neurotechnology to artificial intelligence to a web of satellites encircling the Earth that has made Elon Musk one of the richest and most powerful men in the world.
View from SpaceX launch control. Apparently, there is a car in orbit around Earth.
And the app he was using to live tweet the launch a few years later, that would be his too.
Elon Musk puts in an offer to buy Twitter.
Elon Musk and Twitter announced a $44 billion deal today for
He
Musk.
says he wants to transform the company.
Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech.
For the past 6 months, we've been investigating Elon Musk's controversial purchase of Twitter, how it's expanded his influence into politics at a time of deep division across America.
Now we've got someone who's going to take over Twitter who actually believes in the Constitution and free speech.
And what it means for one of the world's most important platforms for news and political debate to be under the control of one man.
This is a human being that we're giving all of this power to, and there are very few checks on that power right now.
This is the story of Elon Musk's latest mission and its far-reaching consequences.
Elon Musk Twitter takeover. Oh, yeah. It's going down right now. It's going down right now. Yo,
A new name for Twitter. Twitter owner Elon Musk has replaced the iconic bird logo with an X. This came with almost no warning as he made the announcement that the platform will now be known as X.com.
Today, construction crews blocked.
Elon Musk named Twitter after his son X. Just to let y'all know, for the ones that didn't know. Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz Podcast. I need y'all to subscribe, like, comment. We going up. Let's go.
To Lane on Market Street to take down the Twitter sign, letter by letter.
Passersby stopped, clicked, and shared on social media what was happening.
I don't know what the thought process is. This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I think it's an ego thing.
Over the span of just a few days in July 2023, Twitter disappeared and became X, named after Elon Musk's favorite letter.
You know what? Elon Musk thinks he's Batman, and I'm over it.
The former Twitter building now home to X and the giant X sign, and the neighbors say the lights coming from that X sign are simply blinding.
It was the end of a brand that had grown into a global icon since its founding 17 years ago.
There is a new service, and supposedly it is the next big thing. It's a name you can't forget. It's called Twitter.
Twitter.
What is Twitter?
It's stupid and lame and small.
Yet master blogger Robert Scoble can't keep his fingertips off.
Twitter is rather addictive.
We're looking at my Twitter account.
Twitter was founded in 2006 as a simple messaging platform where users posted about daily life.
Users no longer need a PC or a blog. Messaging can be typed by cell phone. That's its selling point.
But it quickly evolved into what became known as the global town square.
What made you want to get up and do something today? Twitter. It felt like it was where the conversation was happening. If there was a news story that dropped on the New York Times, it was debated on Twitter.
Listen, y'all, Elon Musk blew up off Twitter. He already came in the game with the money. You feel me? He ain't had this, he had this. You get what I'm coming from? He took over the game at a young age and they ran with it. That's the same thing about the dude that made Shopify. The person that made Facebook. They smart. They took over the game. They know what's going on. Elon Musk is running with the game because what he doing, he putting his hands in everything. But as he putting his hands in everything, he's using cash so he won't get taxed for it. Smart. Dude, he's so smart. He's so smart, man. It's crazy, y'all. Come on, man. Let's finish watching this document. Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz Podcast. Let's go.
Journalists like me felt like their story was going viral. It was going viral on Twitter.
You sent me a tweet. The Queen started tweeting. The Pope's first tweet.
It had famous people across sports, media, politics.
John obviously needs to work on his typing skills.
And just like generally funny people who were good at Twitter. And the kind of combination of all of those things felt like it was where the conversation was happening.
I just type something in to my iPhone and boom, it's in their brains.
Elon Musk joined the conversation in 2010.
Please ignore prior tweets as that was someone pretending to be me. This is actually me.
At the time, the South African-born entrepreneur was already rich and had a reputation for taking risks. He'd used the fortune he made as a founder of PayPal to start a rocket company and to buy a stake in Tesla, a fledgling electric car company that under his leadership would revolutionize the industry and earn Musk praise as a pioneer in the fight against climate change. On Twitter, he started sharing books he liked and random observations about the world.
Compared to past, today's world is fantastic.
I liked Elon. I thought he was quirky and interesting and creative.
You could warm Mars up over time with greenhouse gases and kind of the opposite of what we're doing on Earth. Yeah,
This is great.
I was in great admiration because most people in Silicon Valley are talking about stupid things or making dating apps. He was doing significant stuff.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to see you guys.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. You kept your promise, which was nice.
Kara Swisher writes about Silicon Valley and has known Musk for more than 20 years. She's interviewed him multiple times.
You started covering Musk, even before PayPal.
Yeah,
right?
yes, but there was a million startup people like him in Silicon Valley, but I remember him.
And what were your impressions of him then?
I paid pretty good attention to him, but not a lot particularly. But then when he started doing the stuff around SpaceX and bought Tesla from the actual founders. That was interesting because he was different.
The real big breakthrough that's needed with rocketry is a truly reusable rocket.
How do you split your time between car and rocket?
Well, it's usually about 50-50.
He was a smart person doing big things. And so there literally can't think of someone who was doing as big things as he was.
What's going on with you and Twitter?
Some people use their hair to express themselves. I use Twitter.
But there was another side to Musk that Swisher came to know over the years.
He's such a quirky personality and an unusual sense of humor that much more juvenile than the other boys. They're all boys, but you know, it was even more so. A lot of fart jokes or penis jokes, and you know, whatever. He liked those. He thought they were hysterical.
I'm reading Robert Massey's book.
So y'all mean to tell me this man come on live natural and interviews and do jokes talking about penis and pussies, and they laugh at that? If that was a black person, they wouldn't laugh at that. They'd have carried that all the way to the extreme, dog. But it's him. He could talk about penis and pussy and butts and stuff like that in front of y'all, and y'all allow that shit? Oh, because it's Eli, right? Man, get out of here, man. Let me finish this, man.
On Catherine the Great. Yeah, I know what you're probably thinking. Did she really a horse?
For Musk, Twitter was the perfect outlet.
Twitter has always been a place where you can be very honest. There were a lot of sassy comments, a lot of wit, and yeah, a lot of things that riled people up. That was literally what Twitter was for.
Twitter was the free speech wing of the free speech party and didn't have any rules. That was very much the approach when these companies were starting.
I love Twitter.
Elon Musk is more impetuous, more impulsive, more addicted to things than anybody I've ever seen. That's what drives him. When he gets riled up, he either tweets or plays video games.
Musk wouldn't talk to Frontline, but biographer Walter Isaacson spent the past 2 years shadowing him.
You know, as a kid, he was bullied on the playground, and he was a scrawny kid. So he kept getting beaten up. They'd push him down the concrete steps and bloody his face, some of the bullies. And those scars have always been with him. Whenever he gets into a dark place, he remembers that playground and he goes dark. And in some ways, Twitter is the ultimate global playground, except for the scrawny kids and the smart kids get followers. They don't get smashed into the concrete steps.
You use your tweeting to kind of get back at critics.
Rarely.
You kind of have little wars with the press.
Twitter is a war zone. If somebody's going to jump in the war zone, it's like, okay, you're in the arena. Let's go.
Musk's natural affinity for Twitter earned him millions of followers, then tens of millions.
Elon Musk was insanely popular on Twitter. He'd always had a ton of followers, but he was inching up to being the most followed person on Twitter. And it felt like everything he touched turned to gold in terms of follower count. So if he interacted with someone, suddenly that person's follower count shot up. It just felt like there was so much engagement and interest in everything he did.
Elon had evangelists. He attracted a kind of very online, mostly male following that wants technology to save the world. It was very clear to me that his followers had this kind of brotherly sense, or my cool older brother, my cool uncle, my cool dad, who is trying to fix the world for me.
Tesla shares surging following CEO Elon Musk's cryptic tweets saying
it's added a lot of value to his, wealth and to the value of his companies.
Well, shares of Palo Alto-based Tesla jumped more than 2% following this mysterious teasing message from CEO Elon Musk. He wrote,
"It's like enabled Tesla to raise money. It's increased the size of his fortune." And that's from Twitter, yeah.
This is marketing.
Yeah. Tesla says we don't really spend on advertising and marketing because Elon Musk is on Twitter.
It was a similar approach to another businessman who'd mastered the art of Twitter.
I have a big voice. I have, millions and millions of followers on Twitter. And when I say something, some people don't like it, but most people do like it.
Donald Trump used Twitter for years to pump himself, his businesses, his show. And it was how he got this massive following.
What a crowd.
And Elon used Twitter the same exact way. There's very little difference.
Similar playbook.
Similar playbook.
You know, if I tweet something, CNN and Fox, all of a sudden they say,
So, there it is. There it is. Y'all heard it first on Yo Cuz podcast. So Donald Trump and Elon Musk do everything the same. So it's no way around it. They the same. Everything Eli do, Donald do. Donald do, Eli do. That's why they so close like that, y'all. They got close like that by Twitter. But do y'all remember when Donald Trump was doing all the gay shit? Do y'all remember when they cut his Twitter, cut his social media off? That's how he got back on social media, because he hooked up with Eli. That's how he got back on social media so fast. Now it's coming together. I need y'all to pay attention, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz podcast, man. Let's talk about Eli, man.
say, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has just made it. I'm sitting there tweeting, bing, bing, bing.
Donald Trump's use of Twitter to circumvent the media, first as a candidate, then as president, elevated Twitter to the most influential political platform in America.
President Trump tweeted to announce his firing of his Secretary of Veterans Affairs.
President Trump tweeting out policy on gun safety in our nation's schools.
President Trump tweeting moments ago, Rex Tillerson out as Secretary of State.
Twitter skyrocketed to a level of prominence that I don't think its founders really expected.
Is there an effort within the White House to try to rein in the president's Twitter habit?
It also took on this central role in democratic deliberation that I don't think anybody could have expected a single tech platform to do.
But for most of this time, Musk had steered clear of political controversy on Twitter.
To be clear, I'm not a conservative. I'm registered independent and politically moderate.
I never knew Elon's politics. Like, they were all over the place. He voted for Obama. He was a big Obama supporter, I remember. He liked Obama better than I did. You never knew.
I didn't know that Eli voted for Musk. Eli voted for Obama. That's what's up. But that still ain't right what he doing now. That still ain't right what Eli doing now, y'all. Because he voted for Obama, that still ain't right. That still ain't right at all. Nuh-uh. Let's finish watching this story so we can learn more.
Knew where he was going to come down politically. He didn't. Like, I didn't ever feel he had any big point of view.
California is now under a statewide stay-at-home order.
The pandemic would spark a shift in Musk that, like so much in his life, would play out on Twitter.
The coronavirus panic is dumb.
I think Elon Musk's tweets are a lot more fun when stocks go up and it's a bull market. When it's more serious like this, it feels a little like, not the time. Not now, Elon.
He had a point of view about that the virus was not dangerous.
Hold on. So Eli bought Twitter off Twitter money. That's crazy, dog. That is so crazy.
That might have been, but at the time, people did not know. And it could have gone a lot of different ways. And 1 million people died. At one point, he was like, I read everything and I now know. And I'm like, thank you, Dr. Musk. And I was like, you don't know anything. It's like ridiculous. Well, they're wrong about the mask wearing, or they're wrong about the don't touch thing. I said, well, they didn't know. And now they know. It's called science.
California's 40 million residents are in lockdown.
At the time, the government had ordered Musk to close his Tesla factories in California.
I mean, he was pissed that his factories were kind of forced to
Yes,
close,
ultimately,
right?
yes. That's the thing. Is he wanted them there and he wanted them working. He thought it was an existential crisis if Tesla didn't succeed. He really, for the world, for all of us. And then it got weird.
Free America now. Give people their freedom back. Hospitals in California have been half empty this whole time. Now give people back their freedom.
Musk told his employees that he intended to defy orders and go to work.
Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, is defying stay-at-home orders, daring authorities to arrest him by reopening his California factory.
CEO Elon Musk tweeted, "I will be on the line with everyone else. If anyone is arrested, I ask that it only be me."
Musk aired his frustrations on a Tesla earnings call.
Frankly, I would call it forcibly imprisoning people in their homes against all their constitutional rights. What the excuse me? This is fascist. This is not democratic. This is not freedom. Give people back their damn freedom.
Musk's rhetoric on COVID would win him an unexpected ally in President Trump, who tweeted, "California should let Tesla and Elon Musk open the plant now." Musk tweeted back,
That's
"Thank
how
you."
they hooked up. That's how they hooked up, right there.
When you say civilization's fragile,
There it
do you
is.
mean because of this
There it
COVID?
is. There it is. There it is. There it is. So they been hooked up. They hooked up about 4 years ago, y'all. Y'all see this? Man, look, I never knew that off the Twitter game, and I just said that. They think a lot. That's why they hooked up together. Come on, y'all, let's finish watching.
19 what's going on right now?
What's that? I never heard of it.
It's this thing.
He also found a sympathetic ear with Joe Rogan, the most popular podcaster in the country.
In general, I think that's like we should be concerned about anything that's a massive infringement on our civil liberties.
Yes.
Yeah, my opinion is if somebody wants to stay home, they should stay home. And if somebody doesn't want to stay home, they should not be compelled to stay home.
In May, a cryptic tweet from Musk signaled his shifting politics.
When he tweets, take the red pill, a line from the Matrix, it means question this ideology that may have been imposed. Try to find out the real truth.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
But it was mostly a signal that he had joined that, I'd call it the somewhat conspiratorial people on the right who feel that the media and the establishment are imposing a narrative on us.
Today, as protests erupted across the country, many governors say it's still too soon to lift restrictions.
Musk's position on the pandemic aligned him with a growing chorus of conservatives who felt their personal liberty was under attack from all sides.
It's our First Amendment right.
The government, the scientific establishment, the press, and increasingly social media.
He was also noticing that on Twitter, if you said that lockdowns could cause more harm than good, you'd be kind of repressed on Twitter. So this made him upset.
They're saying to us, if you dare go against what we say is true, not necessarily what is true, but what we say is true, then we're going to boo you.
It's true that social media companies had become more proactive about what was on their sites.
I'd like to call this hearing to order, and I'd like to welcome our witnesses today, Jack Dorsey, Chief Executive Officer at Twitter.
For years before the pandemic, Twitter's CEO and founder Jack Dorsey had been criticized in the press and lambasted in Congress for his company's failure to stop the spread of hate speech and misinformation, especially after Russian interference in the 2016 election.
We're now removing over 200% more accounts for violating our policies.
We were tasked with making sure our algorithms were responding in a way that was actually beneficial to humanity, not driving misinformation, not driving bias and discrimination.
Raman Chowdhury, a data scientist, ran a team of engineers at Twitter tasked with ensuring the platform's algorithms did not promote harmful content.
There are millions of tweets any given second that you could see on your timeline. Your little iPhone screen only shows maybe 3 of those at a time. So we have to build multiple systems that are identifying what you'd want to see.
It shapes the universe of what people are seeing.
Absolutely. It shapes the universe of perception. It is telling us what is important and what is not important. So my team's job was to ensure that the algorithms that we're building were responding to some of the issues that governments were talking about, people were talking about, and this increasing fear of how social media might be changing the course of elections, how it might be, making children's minds rot, how it might be polarizing young men and causing some of the violence that we're seeing in the world.
How it might be spreading lies more than truth?
Absolutely, that's definitely a concern.
In late 2019, Twitter fielded a large-scale study of users of the service and asked them, do you think Twitter should take some type of action on misinformation? And what we heard back from a majority of users globally was yes.
Yoel Roth started at Twitter in 2015 while finishing his PhD in communications. He would work his way up to running the content moderation team, a job that would ultimately lead him to clash with Elon Musk.
Twitter's users told us that when it came to certain types of harmful misinformation, they didn't think it was acceptable for the company to do nothing. They wanted us to step in. And so that's what we did.
That seems like a particularly messy business for a social media company like Twitter. How did you think about your role as sort of an arbiter of truth?
Misinformation was one of the hardest policy issues for Twitter to take on. For many years, our position was we are not the arbiters of truth. But we also saw that some types of misinformation, if left completely unchecked, could be incredibly dangerous and damaging. And so we had to figure out when and where it might be appropriate to step in.
But it does put you at Twitter in the uncomfortable position of having to kind of determine something as misinformation, determine something as being a lie.
I don't think it's a comfortable position for companies to be in, to have to.
Listen, y'all heard it first from Yo Cuz podcast. They think alike. They think just alike. They think alike. We definitely in trouble. They got friends on Twitter, Mo. They became friends on Twitter. Now they running the world together. You feel me? Listen, watch, see what's going on in life, man. Don't let life go past you, man. For real, man. Let's finish watching this document.
To arbitrate whether something is true or false. But there's still a responsibility that goes along with being the place where these conversations happen. We see that when platforms are hands-off with dangerous speech, that dangerous things happen as a result.
So as misinformation about the coronavirus continues to spread globally, Twitter has implemented a new system to sort of highlight bogus or unverified claims. So
when you are in a very public health crisis and health emergency and individuals are looking for information that can literally be life-saving, to have misinformation spreading could be the difference between life and death.
Anika Collier-Navaroli, a lawyer and senior member of the Twitter safety team, helped write the company's content moderation policies. In May 2020, Twitter rolled out a new system of labeling tweets deemed to be misinformation.
Many experts call this steady stream of false information and conspiracy theories an infodemic.
So there was this new intervention, which was this label. And I think it really did sort of change the experience and change the conversation for a lot of people, because it felt like social media companies were intervening in things that they never had done before, which they were.
Speech police?
Never met them.
Why is it funny?
I think it's funny to me because people have used a lot of words and a lot of phrases to kind of describe the job that I did, right? We were known as Twitter gods, we were known as Twitter jail, and the thought police, the speech police, all of these various terms, I think, have been used towards, humans who are showing up every day just trying to do our jobs.
What would be a better description then of what you did?
Content moderation.
Twitter's new approach would play into concerns that social media companies had started to constrain what people could say about the pandemic and the response.
They want unquestioned obedience, so they're cracking down on free expression.
In late April, Elon Musk tweeted,
Silicon Valley has become sanctimonious valley, too much the moral arbiter of the world.
Today, Governor Gavin Newsom issued an executive order to send every...
One of Twitter's first misinformation labels would be the most fateful.
We are reaching out to all registered eligible voters and giving them...
When California Governor Gavin Newsom announced that he'd send millions of mail-in ballots to voters in lockdown, President Trump took to Twitter, alleging this would lead to electoral fraud.
So in that moment, we had to decide what to do. We had built a new product and a new set of technologies for labeling misinformation. And here was one of the most prominent accounts on the service spreading misinformation about voting by mail. And so we made the decision to use our new labeling technology on one of Donald Trump's tweets for the first time.
How did it feel to make that decision?
It was a bit like a dam breaking. For years, Twitter had been criticized for not doing anything to address harmful speech from Donald Trump. And in truth, he had kind of paralyzed the company's content moderation efforts because we didn't know what the right answer was. Mm-hmm. The company was holding back. It was nervous about taking its first action to moderate a sitting head of state. And then we did it. And the response was immediate.
Let's bring in Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president.
The day after we labeled Donald Trump's post for the first time, I woke up to Kellyanne Conway on Fox News.
I want to raise the name of somebody at Twitter. He's the head of integrity, and his name is Yoel Roth. He's at YOYOEL. Somebody in San Francisco go wake him up and tell him he's about to get more followers.
I was floored. I had never gotten that level of public attention before.
His name is Yoel Roth.
The next day, I was on the cover of the New York Post, along with several of my old tweets. The president held an Oval Office press conference decrying social media censorship. He called me a hater.
If Twitter were not honorable, if you're going to have a guy like this be your judge and jury, I think you shut it down as far as I'm concerned, but I'd have to go through a legal process to do that.
I became the poster child for Silicon Valley bias and censorship.
Twitter's head of site integrity has tweeted that there are, quote, actual Nazis in the White House.
The Trump administration pointed to tweets Roth had posted back in 2016, not long after he joined Twitter, accusing him of bias.
This is just incredible. I'm just saying, we fly over those states that voted for a racist tangerine for a reason. It's obviously not decency, and it's sure as hell not neutrality or objectivity.
What were you thinking tweeting those things?
I regret those tweets.
But do they not reveal a liberal bias? I mean, that's what the president was saying, they reveal a liberal bias.
My personal opinions didn't impact Twitter's policies. Twitter's policies were the product of dozens of people working on them and were subject to approval, not just by me, but by a team of executives and ultimately by the company's CEO, Jack Dorsey. I take the responsibility that goes with my job seriously. I wouldn't post those things today. I would recommend against others in my line of work doing so. But I think taking years-old posts out of context and suggesting that they represent some type of systematic bias is a misrepresentation of the facts.
Isn't it a legitimate question, though, to ask in certain circumstances whether the referee is biased? I mean, at Twitter, the vast majority of the staff, I believe, lean Democratic, right? So isn't it a legitimate question to ask if the ref is biased?
I think it's a legitimate question to ask. There's also no evidence that it's true.
Now there are new gatekeepers and more gatekeepers than ever.
They're authoritarians. If they're willing to censor the president, they will think nothing at all of silencing you, and they don't.
Elon Musk would echo the concerns.
Silicon Valley or the San Francisco Bay Area has too much influence on the world, in my opinion. And I say that as someone who has spent most of his life in California, mostly in the Bay Area. You know, there's some out there who just want to shut down one side of a debate or another. I think we should resist that.
In October 2020, concerns about bias at Twitter would only intensify when it made an unprecedented move, temporarily blocking a New York Post news story about Hunter Biden's laptop in the run-up to the presidential election.
These oligarchs in big tech are treating us as if we are fiefs in their authoritarian regime.
Twitter had locked out a story about Hunter Biden's laptop. You know, they kept it from being transmitted for about a day. Then they locked the New York Post out of their account for 2 weeks. It was kind of a historic moment in American censorship.
Matt Taibbi, then a reporter for Rolling Stone, was alarmed by the development.
These companies, Facebook, Twitter, Google/YouTube, they are de facto monopolies in terms of distribution. They control overwhelmingly who gets to see what. Once you start going down that road, the whole history of any sort of unfree society in the world is that once you take a step in that direction, you know, it never stops. It always keeps going.
The Trump campaign is accusing Twitter and Facebook of censorship after the social
Twitter had blocked the story due to concerns that the laptop was part of a Russian hack and leak operation intended to disrupt the American elections. It wasn't.
Twitter's CEO also said Twitter should have communicated better about why.
Twitter and Dorsey soon admitted that blocking the New York Post story was a mistake. Musk agreed.
Suspending the Twitter account of a major news organization for publishing a truthful story was obviously incredibly inappropriate.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States, winning
3 weeks later, President Trump lost the election. And Twitter continued to slap labels on his tweets and many others that spread lies about the results.
This morning, President Trump plans to speak to thousands of his supporters.
Between Election Day and January 6th, Twitter labeled more than 140 separate tweets from the president.
Every time I put out a tweet, that's even if it's totally correct, I get a flag.
We labeled them as misinformation, we restricted them, we fact-checked them, and the president kept posting them every day. The same thing, the same content, the same lies.
I am very concerned about what happens tomorrow, especially given what we have been seeing on the platform for the last several months.
On January 5th, in a video obtained by Frontline of an internal Twitter conference call, Anika Navaroli warned that Trump's tweets could lead to violence.
And we're still confused as to when we are actually going to be able to either trigger, again, like a crisis or an emergency. Like, does somebody need to be murdered?
For months, she'd been urging top executives to change tack, to not just label some of Trump's tweets, but take them down.
So look, this is where all about to start, the information. When Trump had them people to run up in the Capitol and people died, people got hurt and everything. You get what I'm saying? Then he came back to be president. He went to DC jail in DC and got 1,600 people out that was in this ride. You feel me? He came to president like he knew he was and got all the people that was in that ride that he sent in there, he brought all of them home. Listen to this, y'all.
What I was advocating before January 6th was not for the permanent suspension or permanent banning of any one account, but rather the taking down of individual content. And I remember, sending a message to a larger team and saying, and this was like December of 2020, saying out loud, if there were any other country in the world in which the leader of the elected party was contesting an open and fair election, and their followers were openly calling for civil war, would we do anything differently? Because I firmly believed, given the other circumstances that I had worked and I had seen, that we would, and yet we were not acting in this specific case.
So your warnings basically were unheeded.
Yes.
Did you get a sense that part of the reluctance to do anything much about Trump's tweeting before January 6th was because he was a star of Twitter?
Very much so. He was the main attraction. I believe that the Twitter platform was used to incite violence on January 6th.
And Twitter knew about it?
I specifically warned them, yes.
And nothing was done?
Nothing was done.
Navaroli would eventually resign. Twitter's founder, Jack Dorsey, didn't respond to our request for an interview. The company has said that it had a policy of giving heads of state more latitude.
That's when Eli, when this happened right here, that's when Eli said, you know what? Twitter gonna get banned. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna buy Twitter and just change the name and just show everything on it. Because guess what? He already read in his mind that they doing anything anyway. So let me go ahead and drop this money on Twitter, change the name, and then I'm gonna give them all cash so they won't tax it. Told you he's smart, y'all. Now watch this.
And that Navaroli's account leaves out the unprecedented steps it took to respond to threats during the 2020 election. As the events unfolded on January 6th at the Capitol building, Twitter temporarily suspended the president, a 12-hour timeout. But 2 days later, Trump was at it again.
The president returned to Twitter and posted that he would not be attending President Biden's inauguration. He posted that the American patriots who had supported him would have a voice long into the future. And that tweet lit a fuse. And we saw that the president's rhetoric about patriots having a voice into the future was being seen as a call to action, as a promise that the president would have people's back as they protested, demonstrated, and even carried out acts of violence.
You were interpreting it as a call to arms, but was it literally, a call to arms?
I want to emphasize that wasn't my interpretation. That was how people received the president's statements. Whatever the president's intentions, and we can't get in his head, we don't know what he was thinking. Whatever his intentions, the result was that lots of people interpreted it as a call to action and a call to violence. And it was not possible for the company to avoid taking action any longer.
I got to be honest, who elected you to take away the megaphone? I mean, who are you to make that choice?
I'm no one. And it wasn't my decision. It was my recommendation. There were other people who were involved in it, who reviewed it, who weighed in on it. But ultimately, it shouldn't be any one person's decision. It's a terrifying amount of power for a company to have, for any one person to have, whether it's me, Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk. No one should have that kind of power. And yet that power exists. And somebody has to make a call whether incitement of violence from a head of state crosses the line. And I didn't seek out that power. I don't think anyone working at Twitter or Facebook or any other platform did. But when the power finds you and when the risks are so significant, there's no choice but to act.
This morning, President Trump waking up without his favorite megaphone.
Twitter has announced it is cutting off President Trump's ability to post on the social media site permanently.
So look, they banned Trump from Twitter because Trump sent them people in that capital, right? Then Trump got right back on Twitter 12 hours later, right? So look, this how things gonna go on. Uncle Trump and Elon Musk, they think a lot.
I think that big tech is doing a horrible thing.
The suspension of President Trump was widely criticized, including by Elon Musk.
A lot of people are going to be super unhappy with West Coast high tech as the de facto arbiter of free speech.
Joining us remotely, Elon Musk.
He'd call Twitter's decision a grave mistake.
I do think that it was not correct to ban Donald Trump. It alienated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice. I think permabans just fundamentally undermine trust in Twitter as a town square where everyone can voice their opinion.
Musk saw Twitter's decision not as an isolated incident, but part of a larger trend in American culture.
I think he felt that the educational establishment, the media, the people who ran Twitter had sort of fallen into a groupthink, and he felt they were suppressing people who were outside of the mainstream, especially people on the right.
He called it the woke mind virus.
He basically meant the progressive, very anti-capitalistic or anti-business feelings, as well as the political correctness he felt where you had to use the right pronouns and other things.
An episode in Musk's complicated family life would intensify his feelings about progressive politics. By 2022, he'd had 11 children with 3 different women. That spring, one of his teenagers came out publicly as transgender.
And he got his mind around that okay, but she became...
What? Did y'all hear that? Eli had 11 kids and one of his kids like the other person. That's crazy. Look up on it, y'all.
Became very left-wing and progressive, and Marxists rejected him for being a billionaire and changed their last name. And he kept saying that's the most hurtful thing that's ever happened. And that, too, I think, pushed him because he felt that the woke ideology had infected her and others. And so he becomes more anti-establishment, more anti-woke.
Elon Musk, ladies and gentlemen.
He would later explain his disdain for woke politics to comedian and talk show host Bill Maher.
I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
Yes, it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. Almost synonymous would be cancel culture.
Okay, so this
I really can't emphasize this enough. We must protect free speech, and free speech only matters. It's only relevant when it's someone you don't like saying something you don't like, because obviously speech that you like is it's easy. So it's the thing about censorship is that sure for those who would advocate it, just remember at some point that will be turned on you.
Musk's tough talk about the woke mind virus and his newfound free speech crusade would help make him one of the most popular figures in America.
He talks about this woke mindset virus, and I think he's right. It is a virus.
He's not afraid to speak the truth. He's speaking the truth very boldly.
He was tapping into a growing concern in much of the country that progressive ideas and policies had gone too far.
At its heart, wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful.
On Sunday evening, we got a notice. Hi, the Babylon Bee, your account has been locked for violating the Twitter rules.
For Musk, the last straw was in March 2022, when Twitter suspended one of his favorite accounts, the Babylon Bee, a right-wing satirical website.
And our offending tweet was, the Babylon Bee's man of the year is Rachel Levine. And
which I thought was a nice honor.
The Babylon Bee had mocked the nation's highest-ranking transgender official, Admiral Rachel Levine, by awarding her the title Man of the Year, a violation of Twitter's misgendering policy at the time.
Elon Musk took issue with the banning of the Babylon Bee. You know, they were taken off because they, I guess, misgendered one of Biden's appointees, a trans appointee. And I could see why people would think that's offensive, but we've protected comedy in this country for a long time, even when it's incredibly offensive, precisely because, you know, that's where a lot of social change happens. If you start making it bannable to say the wrong thing, you're going to not have comedy soon.
You know, it's just a joke, and they're asking us to basically bend the knee and say, we admit that this is hateful conduct. Please keep us on your platform. And we're not going to do that. And so
in the case of the Babylon Bee, they posted content that misgendered Admiral Rachel Levine. They claimed it was satire, but they did it fully recognizing that they had violated Twitter's rules. You don't get...
Listen, this man was going back and forth with Twitter and then bought Twitter. Hey, Mo, is that man? Hey, listen, man. And it's crazy because the people who they interview, he fired them. That's what happened.
To join somebody else's community and decide that you're going to set your own rules.
Can you explain why is there a policy about misgendering?
If somebody expresses a preference to have somebody use one set of pronouns and somebody willfully uses another, that's an attempt to silence them. It's an attempt to intimidate them, to abuse them, to harass them. And that conduct ultimately makes people less comfortable speaking publicly on a platform like Twitter, which I view as counterproductive. You can make that decision when you're a company. And there's lots of reasons for it. You do it because it attracts users. You do it because it attracts advertisers. You do it because certain identity categories are actually protected under the law in the United States and elsewhere, and you have an obligation to do it. But those are decisions that you make as a company. You are curating a community, and you get to decide whether some types of harmful and hateful conduct are outside of the bounds of what's okay.
When Babylon Bee was suspended, Musk's ex-wife texted him a suggestion.
Can you buy Twitter and then delete it, please? XX. America is going insane. Please do something to fight wokeism. I will do anything to help. XX.
Musk tested waters on Twitter.
Given that Twitter serves as the de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. What should be done?
At the beginning of 2022, things were going really well for him. He had a lot of money burning a hole in his pocket because he had exercised some stock options. But when things go well for Musk, he gets unsettled sometimes. He wants to shake things up. He's been, as his brother Kimball says, a drama addict his whole life. And when things are calm, he seeks out storms.
By March, Musk had been quietly buying Twitter stock, hoping to push the company in a new direction.
He told me this could fulfill my vision of X.com, which was the company he had started 20 years earlier that morphed into PayPal. But he had wanted it to be larger than a PayPal. He wanted it to be a social network, a payments platform, a place where everybody could create content and get paid for it. He wanted to transform content the way Steve Jobs transformed the music business.
Twitter offered him a seat on the board. In texts with Parag Agrawal, Jack Dorsey's new CEO, Musk seemed eager to help.
I have a ton of ideas, but let me know if I'm pushing too hard. I just want Twitter to be maximum amazing.
In the midst of the turmoil of him buying stock and being offered a board seat on Twitter, he flies off to Hawaii. Doesn't usually take vacations, but this is 3 or 4 days at Larry Ellison's house, and he's meeting a girl he was seeing at the time, Natasha Bassett, an Australian actress. But instead of relishing the vacation, he stays up all night, tweeting and texting.
Most of these cop accounts tweet rarely and post very little content. Is Twitter dying?
It was the day Musk was set to join the board. Agrawal texted him.
You are free to tweet, "Is Twitter dying?" or anything else about Twitter, but it's my responsibility to tell you that it's not helping me make Twitter better in the current context.
Musk snapped back.
What did you get done this week?
Less than a minute later.
I'm not joining the board. This is a waste of time.
15 seconds after that.
We'll make an offer to take Twitter private.
Elon's impatience and impulsiveness just drove him to say, I don't want a board seat. I want to control this.
Musk made his offer.
$43 billion, all cash, take it or leave it.
He tweeted the news about an hour ago, simply saying, quote, I made an offer.
Elon Musk wants Twitter, but he doesn't got it yet.
This is not only a big win for free speech, it is about a big ship that's coming.
He says he wants to transform the company.
Kara Swisher was initially optimistic.
I thought it was a great idea. I thought he'd be a good owner.
Why?
Because he has the money, the means, and the creativity to do something. I thought he could get stuff done. And he actually asked me my ideas because I knew a lot about Twitter. I was a very heavy user. I was working with Twitter on a bunch of things that were interesting to make money. And I was very clear, like, you can do it. You can make this into a much better business. And he said, let's get together and talk about it.
Yeah, so we heard Musk this afternoon say he's not sure that this will succeed.
Not all of his friends and family were so enthusiastic.
In early April, he's at the factory in Texas with Tesla. And his brother is arguing, don't get into Twitter. You got enough else to do. Even his kids at dinner are saying, why are you doing this? His kids say, we don't use Twitter. I just sat and watched as all these arguments were going on, but I did ask him, how does it fit into all your other missions? And he said, well, it doesn't really fit in, but maybe by helping democracy, it'll help civilization survive. I think he always has to put these things in some huge, large, epic framework, and he eventually convinced himself of that.
My biological neural nets concluded that if Twitter was not bought and steered in a good direction, that it would be a danger for the future of civilization.
He is somebody, ever since he was reading comic books as a kid, who needs to see himself on an epic mission.
After Twitter accepted his offer, Musk appeared celebratory at the Met Gala with his mother.
I told him not to take on the world and the universe, and he didn't listen.
Aspirationally, I am trying to do good for humanity and the future of civilization.
Throughout all of this, I really thought he has bought some Twitter stock. He's talked about buying Twitter. What are the odds that he will actually get his act together? There's a gap between like Elon Musk tweeting, I want to buy this company, or like sending an angry text message saying, I want to buy your company. And like the bankers at Morgan Stanley putting together the commitment letter saying, here's your $44 billion of financing.
Did it appear like an impulse buy?
I would have said more like a rage buy. It didn't on the surface seem to have a ton of like business or financial logic to it. One reason it seems impulsive is because he changed his mind like a week later, he tried to get out of the deal.
Elon Musk now backing out of his $44 billion agreement to purchase Twitter.
The social media giant suing him for $44 billion in an effort to enforce their original merger agreement.
Does Elon Musk have any legal footing here?
Maybe.
I think that probably what was happening there was mostly that he realized he was overpaying. No one really knows, but I think that probably what he was looking to do was recut the deal at a lower price. Probably.
Musk hinting of a new era of Twitter earlier this week.
After several months of legal wrangling, Musk gave up, agreeing to the terms of his original offer.
Elon Musk is in control of Twitter this morning. The world's richest man closed his blockbuster deal overnight to
And now that it's no longer a publicly traded company, he'll have no shareholders to answer to, which means he can run the company how he wants.
On October 26, 2022, Elon Musk arrived at Twitter headquarters with a gag in hand.
I was standing in the lobby with Parag Agrawal and some of the leaders of Twitter. They were waiting for Musk to come in, and then he comes in with that sink.
Entering Twitter HQ. Let that sink in.
You could feel a certain tension in the air. Because Twitter is this caring, comforting environment with all sorts of quiet rooms and yoga studios and mental health days, and they believe in psychological safety. And Musk turned to me and said, psychological safety, and he sort of laughs. He says, that's the enemy of innovation. I believe in hardcore intensity.
Musk had taken on more than $12 billion in debt and needed to start making cuts quickly. He'd brought with him a team of friends, relatives, and loyalists from his other companies to help him do just that.
Suddenly, an army of people materialized.
Didn't I just say that? The reason why these folks doing this interview on Twitter, because he fired them. Not fired them, but laid them off. But yeah, he probably laid them off, got it back, and then brought it back. But he already got a crew that was making him billions and trillions of dollars. That's why he put his money in every way he can. I'm gonna let y'all finish this.
In the office who didn't have Twitter name tags or Twitter computers, and who started telling Twitter staff what to do. And the assumption was that they had some kind of authority because Elon had brought them over. They knew how to build cars, they knew how to launch rockets, they knew how to dig tunnels, but they didn't necessarily know about how to run a social media company.
Teams were asked originally to print out code, I think 50 pages of code, and have it reviewed by a Tesla engineer. People were standing at the printer, printing out their code and sort of standing in line like a bunch of students about to be reprimanded by a dean. And that whole exercise is not valuable. Engineers who build cars do not understand the code behind social media systems. They're totally different things. That was just a performance of loyalty.
Within days, Ruman Chowdhury was part of the first round of layoffs.
Told you.
Everyone's rolling? Okay. We spoke to a group of former employees, some of whom told us they'd been initially excited by the prospect of Musk taking over.
I was what I would initially call team hype when he was first offered to buy the company. And then in early June, we had an all hands with him.
Elon, thank you so much for joining us.
Right, thanks for having me. It's glad to be able to speak to everyone.
A leaked video of the meeting was posted online.
I said, like, okay, I'm going to see the business version of Elon Musk, not the weird Twitter guy, right? And we're going to hear like facts about his product vision, and we're going to hear a bunch of stuff around that. He showed up late to that meeting. He showed up in a very unprofessional manner.
I made this joke already, but some people use their hair to express themselves. I use Twitter.
The meeting was very meandering. It was very light on details.
Some of my comments about Twitter being sort of like a digital town square, but really much more than that.
It was going into AI.
He talked about extending the light of consciousness, and he started to get into like Mars colonization.
We should take a set of actions most likely to extend the scope, scale, and lifespan of consciousness as we know it. And
I can't believe that's the transition from aliens away from this conversation back to
Listen, y'all heard it first. Y'all saw it first on Yo Cuz podcast. Document. You feel me? I just want y'all to know, right? How he blew up so fast and who blew up with him and how he did it. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all tune in to Yo Cuz podcast. Let's go. Make sure y'all subscribe to that channel. Like this channel. Comment on this channel. I'm gone.
Twitter. What?
I guess I didn't quite hear at that meeting what I would see a very professional kind of visionary or industrialist. I just saw the same Twitter guy.
Elon Musk making major moves after his takeover at Twitter, telling employee layoffs will begin later this morning.
A week after Musk's takeover, the entire Twitter staff received an email.
5:30 on Thursday, which is 8 o'clock. People have left for the day on the East Coast Central Time. This note about, oh, here are layoffs going to happen. You'll get an email either to your work email or your personal email.
I remember over text with half my team, and we were literally refreshing. Like, we were logging into our computers. I'm on the East Coast. I stayed up until 3 a.m. that night, like, just kind of checking, like, do I still have access? And then at 3 a.m. I was like, you know what? I'll find out in the morning if I'm still an employee.
I was having dinner with my family, and I'm on the East Coast, and my phone was just dinging during the dinner. I opened my computer, and when I had logged in, I lost access. Like, everything shut off. The screen went gray at that moment, and I literally started crying in front of my kids.
It could have been handled a whole lot better, should have been handled a whole lot better, and with more humanity. And so shame on him for that.
I spent over an hour and a half. I don't know, I'm so emotional. I thought over this. So I lied in bed and I scrolled to the top of the timeline. And I looked at everybody's message. I scrolled over about 9 hours worth of saluting emojis. And the next day is like you went through a fire and you're looking for survivors.
This morning, thousands of Twitter employees are out of a job.
There'd be more rounds of layoffs and firings over the coming months.
It felt like I was on a sinking ship. They had just let like 75% of the people on the ship drown, and I'm still here on this ship, and I'm like, don't know what I'm doing. Oh.
And how many of you, even by a show of hands, are still waiting on a proper severance? What you were promised? Really? All of you? Thousands of former workers have sued Twitter, raising claims including unpaid severance and bonuses. Twitter contends its ex-employees have received everything they're owed.
Twitter customer support at your service.
Musk defended the layoffs on the Silicon Valley podcast All In.
How did you get to your intuition on what the efficient frontier of employees needed to be to make the product better?
Well, yeah.
Well, I observed part of this where you basically asked the question, who here is critical and who here is exceptional?
Yes, I mean, really, what the criteria is trying to apply, and obviously you're not going to be perfect if you're moving fast, and there's a lot of people you're talking about here, is that anyone who is exceptional at what they do, where the role is critical, and they have a positive effect on others, and they are trusted, meaning they put the company's interests before their own, should stay.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. And also is up for working hard. Like was not Twitter's prior culture.
The first time that I met Elon Musk was a few hours after he fired my boss. I assumed that I was going to be fired and was frankly surprised that it was happening in person, but a member of Elon's team requested to meet with me. So the initial perspective that somebody on his team had was, well, turn off all access to content moderation tools. Just stop all of it. Nobody moderates anything.
Really?
And I explained that that wouldn't be a viable approach because there's lots of types of moderation that are simply non-negotiable around combating terrorism, around protecting children. I suggested that we not shut down those lines of work. And he agreed. And I was just floored. There was a moment that I'd been expecting not just to be fired, but to be walked out the door immediately. And instead, I was making a recommendation to Elon Musk about content moderation. He agreed with me and he understood what we were trying to do. And I thought for a minute, maybe it won't be as bad as we've been assuming. Maybe it's all just for show.
Hate speech is surging on Twitter following Elon Musk's takeover, despite...
But Musk would soon be tested.
He put up the bat signal to racists, to misogynists, to homophobes.
Groups that monitor hate speech, like the Anti-Defamation League, spotted a worrying trend.
We saw this surge of toxic trolling and hate speech that just blew up on the platform days after the company was bought.
There was a trolling campaign that was supposedly testing the waters of the new Twitter.
I'm tapping in. Y'all know what it is. Y'all done tune into Yo Cuz podcast. Tap in. I want to thank y'all for sitting on live screen with me tonight, watching the story about Elon Musk. We will tune in back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Watching the life of Elon Musk. See how he blew up so fast, how he took over Twitter, how he carried all cash to Twitter. You feel me? He played with Twitter the whole time. And just to let y'all know, him and Trump is just alike. They met on Twitter. You feel me? That's why they in the pocket together like that. Because guess what? They got a plan. Don't let their plan go through, y'all. Don't let their plan go through. We need to pull together right now and stop what's going on. Yes, man, we need to stop what's going on. Like we don't need to let their plan stay together. You get what I'm saying? But thank y'all for tuning in to Yo Cuz podcast. I need y'all to subscribe, like, drop a comment. We going up, man. We going up. Going up, man. Just thank y'all, man, for tapping in. I'm gone. Hello? What's up, cuz? Cool? And I was chilling? Man, I'm laid back, nigga. You already know. You about to pull up? Alright. Get cool. Man, fuck this nigga calling me for, man. I hope this nigga ain't do no bad man shit over the south side, man. Hey, cuz.